Have you ever wondered what would happen if a Shaolin monk went head-to-head with a Taekwondo master? It's a common sight for two fighters of the same martial arts to fight, but not so much when they come from different disciplines. In this video, we'll see a glimpse of what it's like to have a match between a Shaolin monk and a Taekwondo fighter. But first, let's talk a little bit about what it takes to be a Shaolin monk. You might be asking, what is a Shaolin monk? Well, they're people who dedicate their lives to the Shaolin Temple. They study, preserve, develop, and practice the ancient martial arts of Kung Fu. While it's easy to define Shaolin monks as the fighters you see in Hollywood movies, there's more to them than their fighting ability. Aside from perfecting Kung Fu, they also study Shaolin culture, Buddhism, weapons, Qigong, and Chinese traditional medicine. As these monks complete their training, they also do their role in helping maintain order in the Shaolin Temple. Being a Shaolin monk, however, isn't all about fighting. It's also about discipline, hard work, and responsibility while maintaining humility. Shaolin monks have garnered a reputation in modern culture and in the film industry. While several of its aspects remain to be a mystery in the outside world, one thing we do know for sure is that being one takes years of practice and dedication. At its core, the martial arts style is composed of three components. First, monks are trained with basic skills which every other fighting skill is based on. Basics include a fighter's stamina, balance, and adaptability. All these three are helpful as one moves on to other complicated moves. Next, we have the power skills, which include the 72 moves and stances mostly seen in movies. There are also combat skills, which refer to the fighting styles that fighters practice against an opponent. For these, they can be further classified into two groups. The first group is barehanded techniques, which means there are no weapons to use. The second group includes fighting with weapons. There are hundreds of moves and fighting styles in the Shaolin Kung Fu world. That said, it can be quite tricky to remember them in one go, much less practice them in such a short amount of time. To give you an overall idea of the many styles, here's a quick simplification of Shaolin Kung Fu. Like most Chinese martial arts, it emphasizes the use of strikes. This includes using different kicks, punches, and blocks, as well as the many combinations of these moves. Such techniques aim to stop attackers from launching their attacks or counterattack any form of it. While many martial arts have the same goal, Shaolin is unique in the sense that the fighters stop opponents by using many beautiful combinations of the moves. The open and closed hand striking of these forms makes for smooth visual effects, which spectators can easily appreciate. Unlike other martial arts that focus on throwing out the opponent, this type of Kung Fu emphasizes soft techniques where the opponent's aggressive moves are used for counterattacks and defenses. With this and a few fast kicks and blows, Shaolin Kung Fu can be a lethal force to win any match without actually doing much work. In popular culture, Shaolin Kung Fu has had its fair share of mentions in movies. These include movies like Shaolin Kung Fu, Shaolin Soccer, and the Shaolin Temple. Aside from these movies, the world has seen the rise of a few Shaolin monks doing their thing. Perhaps one of the most famous Shaolin monks is Henan, who is the man behind the establishment of the USA Shaolin Temple. Being a 34th generation warrior monk, he helped increase the reach of Shaolin Kung Fu in the Western world. Henan was trained at the Shaolin Temple in Henan itself, where he began training at the early age of 5. In the USA Shaolin Temple, he's trained thousands of students, some that went on to become full-fledged monks, teaching the next generation of students. Henan even trained several celebrities, including Wesley Snipes and Rosie Perez. His influence reaches even further, appearing in the American samurai action film Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai, as well as appearing in several interviews and documentaries. So, now that you know all about Shaolin Kung Fu, what do you think will happen if a Shaolin monk goes head-to-head with a Taekwondo black belter? Before we answer that question, let's now talk about the martial art that is Taekwondo. One of the most popular Korean martial arts, Taekwondo emphasizes the discipline of physical and mental training. A summary can be taken from the name itself. Tai translates to foot, Kwon translates to fist, and Do translates to the way. When you put these three words together, it translates to the way of the foot and the fist. Taekwondo features different punches and kicks. You may have already seen some of these kicks in movies or online clips. Most of them are usually high and powerful kicks aimed at the head and other weak points of the body. Using the feet and fists, Taekwondo aims to provide a form of self-defense where one can easily defend themselves. It's the proper way of the feet and fists to enhance a fighter's spirit. While it does train you to fight and defend yourself, it also emphasizes the importance of keeping a cool mind to keep the peace. With a history traced to 1,000 years ago, Taekwondo has evolved into a martial arts sport of discipline. Like many other traditional forms in the East, Taekwondo has been influenced in some way by older martial arts in Japan and China. While this may be the case, Taekwondo is also different in many ways. This includes the fact that it uses quick, dynamic movements involving the foot. You can see this type of foot fighting in Taekwondo tournaments posted online. Taekwondo black belters and mentors also highlight the unity it takes to practice Taekwondo. The mind and the body must be in sync to attain real victory, which is peace and unity of the mind, a complete way of life. In mainstream media, Taekwondo isn't generally featured the same way as Shaolin Kung Fu is. While this may be the case in films and shows, Taekwondo is very much popular in terms of sports competitions. It's a heavily watched Olympic event, with Taekwondo athletes competing from all over the world. Hundreds of countries also have Taekwondo competitions hosted and facilitated by the country's Taekwondo organization. All of these are under World Taekwondo, which is based in Korea. Next, let's take a look at some of the many moves of Taekwondo. First, there's the front kick, which is perhaps the easiest one. Once mastered, people can do other variations like the jumping front kick and the front foot front kick. Another kick is the side kick, which instructors like to teach their students early on. It aims to hit the opponent's torso, which can be a very powerful move in terms of offense and defense. The roundhouse kick is also an iconic move featured in many movies. These kicks, along with the other kicks and punches of Taekwondo, can be used in a series of combinations during sparring or fights in competitions. So that's basically what Korea's Taekwondo is all about. Now, who do you think will win in a fight between two fighters? One a Shaolin monk and one a Taekwondo master. Well, if you're going to ask Shaolin enthusiasts, you can expect them to vouch for Shaolin. If you ask people who practice Taekwondo, you can also expect them to vouch for Taekwondo. So who wins exactly? It depends on how you look at the two sports. In terms of discipline, the obvious answer would be Shaolin Kung Fu, because Shaolin monks devote their lives inside the Shaolin Temple, undergoing rigorous training away from the rest of the world. While Taekwondo athletes can still enjoy life outside the martial arts, Shaolin monks rarely ever go out of the temple. This brings their training to an elite level where they train non-stop for their kicks, punches, and stances. Another advantage is that Shaolin Kung Fu also involves training with weapons. It isn't confined to the hands and feet like Taekwondo is. While Shaolin monks can easily pick up a bamboo stick and do several fighting techniques with it, Taekwondo black belters don't have the same training. Taekwondo does impose a certain way of discipline, but Shaolin Kung Fu remains unmatched in this aspect. Just the fact that monks are trained in simple robes and bare feet inside an isolated temple already tells you just how intense this martial arts sport is. This is exactly why movies highlight Kung Fu more often. So that's all for today's episode, folks. If you enjoyed watching, leave a like and share it with your friends. You can also comment letting us know which types of videos you'd like to see from this channel in the future. Also, subscribe to Trend Loops if you haven't already, and check out our other videos. Stay tuned for more.